Hi, my name is Ben Lawson, and I am going to walk you through a social story I made called When I Feel Out of Control. This is based on a client I work with every day, and we were frequently having issues with transitioning from highly preferred activities or activities where he was getting socially mediated attention back to therapy room to get some work done. So even though he knew that with getting work done, he knew work done would result in reinforcement, it wasn't something he was able to process. But he did have the self-management skills to use some of the tactics that we're going to explain here, and everything that we use with him is what's explained within the social story right now. When I feel out of control. Sometimes I don't feel I have control over what's going on around me. This can make me feel upset or frustrated. Sometimes I don't think it's fair that I have to do my work or ask to walk out of the room and into the hallways. So right there we're addressing he feels work is unfair sometimes. We're acknowledging that. We're acknowledging that it upsets him and frustrates him. And we're trying to shift from a maladaptive response to something, to a response that's more appropriate. And then we need to reinforce the more appropriate response, which in this case is, it's going to be a break. Manding for a break, and it's a very specific mand, and it's a very specific consequence as soon as the mand is placed. He thrives on peer attention and especially therapist and adult attention, so that's why he really likes to poke his head out of the therapy room and into the hallways, and we have to continually tell him, you need to sit down. So that's kind of what we're addressing right up front. I know the rules, but that doesn't always mean I think they're fair. However, I have options when I feel out of control. I can use these at any time. So now we're offering him his options and telling him what he has to do to get these options. The first option, I can hand my therapist a break ticket. So the break ticket is a little orange ticket that we have Velcroed to the table that we work on. All of his independent work, all of his handwriting activities, his math problems, tacting concepts. We keep that all right there on the table for him to have access to, and then also on the back of his self-management clipboard. So when we're implementing the DRO procedure and the clipboard is in use to get his highest reinforcer, on the back is a break ticket he knows he can take off and hand it to me. If he hands it to me, when I use a break ticket, I get a Reese's piece. So immediately therapist is reinforcing that he used the break ticket with a Reese's piece, and then pairing that reinforcement with verbal praise. So say their name, and then you would say, good job using a break ticket. I can go to my Zen den. There are fun distractions in my Zen den. So the Zen den kind of reflects what some parents have in their house as a timeout corner. We're not really looking to put him in timeout. Rather, we want to provide him a desirable space to go to, a space that he just got reinforced to go to. He's getting a chance to calm down, and then since he does thrive on that peer and adult attention, he's not likely to stay in that space for a long time, because that's not a space where he's getting that type of reinforcement. He does, however, have a variety of things he can do in the Zen den to help distract him from his feelings of anger, frustration, or wanting to challenge the rules. There's a punching bag. So he has this exact punching bag. It's an orange soccer bopper. It just comes back up when you hit it. And A lot of the times he's not even punching. A lot of the times he's kind of wrapping his arms around it, using it almost like he needs a hug. It's pressure, so there is a bit of a sensory aspect to that. I can use the break box with all my favorite fidgets in it. So he does have a break box. It's also, I know some therapists or clinics call it a calm down kit or toolkit. And it's got a variety of desired objects in it: slime, fidget spinners, little things that he can tinker with, and he's very into putting pieces together, things like that. There's like a ball, just a basic tennis ball in it, which he uses very appropriately. He just goes like this or rolls it to himself, because he knows it's not appropriate to be throwing the ball, and that there's a right and a wrong way to use the Zenden. And then every minute that he's in the Zenden, I'm restating the original SD, which oftentimes is something like, you need to return to your seat, you need to return to your work. And during that SD, he has the option of getting up, coming back to his seat, and doing the work and getting that positive reinforcement through praise. Or he can hand me the break ticket again, and we repeat the process. I hand him a Reese's piece, and verbal praise is paired with that, and then we wait another minute. And that plan will be faded eventually, as soon as we're at a point that we're consistently having use of the break pass, and he's not seeing the break pass as an aversive thing that's happening after something like a task refusal. We want it to be an antecedent strategy. I can lay down in my beanbag. That's another option he has, just a place to relax, calmer than sitting on the floor or on a rug. He can wrap himself up in his Pikachu blanket. Pikachu's his favorite character. It's also comforting to him to have blanket. He doesn't even need weighted. Sometimes he's just cold and he wants to feel wrapped up. And then, like I just said, every minute I'm using my Zenden appropriately, I can have a chance to return to my seat to work, or hand my therapist another break ticket. So he's got two options, and either way I'm providing reinforcement verbally. If he hands me the break ticket, he gets the Reese's piece as well, paired with it. No matter which activity I choose in my Zenden, I can take this time to calm down. So just basically re-emphasizing what the Zenden is all about. If I want to calm down, I know I can take deep breaths. So here we're kind of targeting different strategies he can do if he wants to calm himself down without using the options we've provided him, which are more like distractors. We have more of a way he can self-manage by counting, by taking deep breaths. There's a pinwheel in his break box that he can take deep breaths in and blow. And as he's blowing the pinwheel, he knows to count to 5. And those deep breaths have really helped him to calm down faster. Usually, we don't say anything to kind of target him using these strategies versus a distractor like a fidget or a punching bag, but he'll do it by himself, and it usually causes a faster transition back to the work we needed to get done, following through with the SD. He can count to 10. He uses his fingers. I think that visual model to him is very helpful. He uses it when we're doing math as well. It's something that we want to fade as we're doing math concepts, but certainly not something we want to try and teach while he's in the middle of calming himself down. When I feel calm, I can raise my hand to get my therapist's attention. So this is just how, if he wants to begin work and it hasn't been sometime within that minute yet, then he can raise his hand and get my attention. I'll say his name and, "What do you want?" And he'll say, "I'm ready to work." And he'll come back. And yeah, we say, all I have to tell my therapist is I'm ready now. And so he'll return back to the desk and we'll return as if nothing had happened. It's really important to not hold a grudge in this way and to just understand he needed time to calm down. He was overwhelmed. And there's a variety of reasons he could have been overwhelmed too. And then we wanted finally to reinforce that the Zen Den is his space. He's allowed to use his different coping strategies there. And that has been a kind of a buzz phrase for him for a while now, coping strategies, which he's associated with break box, punching bag, bean bag, blanket, even the rug that's in there. He has a yoga mat in there, just different textures we want to provide him, different sensory experiences, everything like that. And then my last slide is I feel better and more in control when I use my break ticket and my Zen Den. And just finally reinforcing what he did, and it got him what he wanted, and it changed how he was feeling. That's essentially my social story. And I'm happy to answer any questions.